Welcome to Business Impacting the Space Coast, the podcast keeping you in the know on small business in Brevard County. Business Impacting the Space Coast is sponsored by Ideal Impact Media, your partner in video marketing and brand storytelling.
Today, I'm with Andreas from Organa Pest Control. You helped me at my home. We just bought a home and it was literally covered in spiders, spider webs, spider sacks, and you've transformed it. So tell me a little bit more about pest control and how you keep bugs and pests out of our living spaces.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So basically what you have to do is you got to figure out what's going on. In this instance, we had a lot of spiders. So first of all, we're going to clean them up. So we're going to brush them down. And then we want to apply a product that's more targeted towards that species. They can be kind of hard, but if you are paying attention and you're applying the product into the spaces where it's needed, it's going to be effective.
Yes, that's really important. And so keeping the bugs we don't want out of our living space, but also maintaining the health and safety of the inhabitants, how do you balance that?
Well, there's so many different types of insects that are going to be around the perimeter of your home. So it's very important to choose the right product. Sometimes you have to rotate different products depending on what's going on. But you also want to make sure you don't put product all over the place. You want to be strategic. You want to put it in places where they're going to enter or where they're hanging out. And that's basically how you do it.
And most of the products you use, are they disrupting some portion of the way the bugs function that isn't necessarily involved with larger animals, mammals, things like that?
So yeah, these products are made to target specific insects and their receptors. Obviously, when the product is wet, it's something you don't want to touch. You want to be respectful. But once it's dry, it's not really targeting us as a mammal or a human or pets and whatnot. It's more targeted towards the insect.
Do you think that it's common that there's over-treatment by pest control companies?
I think there's a lot of companies out there that will put too many customers on a technician's daily route. So that basically means that a lot of technicians out there, they will treat as much as they can, as fast as they can, instead of taking the time and really look at to see what's going on, what can I do to use the least amount of product, but yet enough to get the job done. So it's important to take your time and really pay attention to that.
Can you tell me a little bit about the environments and the ecosystems we have in Brevard County and how you handle that with the treatment plants that you work with?
Sure. Well, we are in a subtropical environment. Up north, it's very common to do quarterly services, but down here, the environment is a little bit more harsh and it makes insects thrive. So we do every other month because it allows the product to stay intact, and plus you come more often to do the job. So, yeah.
Andreas, what's your advice for minimizing pests in your home?
Well, there's so many different types of insects. For example, if you have like mosquitoes, making sure you have a clean yard, trim back your bushes, make sure you cut your lawn. But if you have any buckets with water and whatnot, make sure you tip that over. You can store all your buckets or anything that's collecting rain, put it away, because it will just minimize the risk of having, for example, mosquitoes. But if you have a lot of bushes up against your wall or the foundation of your home or branches leaning up against your roof, you will minimize things to get in and bypass the product. Because let's say we were to treat the soffits, if you have a tree with branches that are hanging over your roof, rodents and stuff like that, they will climb up and just jump on top of your roof and enter through any entry point over there. Most commonly, they will actually enter through your soffits or your soffit returns. So making sure you're cutting back branches away from your structure, that will actually minimize the risk of getting them to enter your home.
I've noticed even with brand new houses being built, there's mulch and there's grass right up against the foundation and the edge of the house. Is that a good idea?
No, I would recommend not to have that because the idea is if you have it leaning up against your structure, you can come out and you can treat the area
but is the product going to get to the area where it needs to be treated? It's going to make it a little bit harder. Plus, it's making a very good environment for certain insects to hang out up against your foundation. A lot of people love using mulch in their planters and whatnot, but I often see that people use too much, and that will create both moisture and a nice environment for insects. So use a little bit less, make sure you have that gap in between the foundation and any landscape you might have.
Recently, you've added termite control services. Tell me about that.
Yes, we just started treating for termites, specifically subterranean termites. We use both stations that you can install into the ground, as well as liquid, or a combination of both. All situations are slightly different, so you got to make sure that you come up with a plan that's most suitable for that situation.
Any other pest control services that maybe people don't think about off the top of their mind?
Well, a big one would be bed bugs. That's a different type of treatment. We do treat them, and what we do is we use heat treatments. We can also use a chemical application or a spore treatment. So there's a lot of different type of treatments for that, but that's a big one.
Andreas, what would you say is the biggest misconception about pest control?
Sure, I would say the biggest misconception in pest control is that we're here trying to eliminate every single insect in your yard. That's not the case. All we're trying to do is control them and make sure they're not entering into your home and keep them at bay.
If it's in between treatments, or maybe somebody who doesn't have a service like yours and they're trying to treat, especially in their home with cans and DIY products, what's your advice to them?
Well, it's important that you know what you're using. For example, if you're using aerosol, you might want to read the label before you actually use it, because there are certain PPE you should be using. For example, like a respirator, or using gloves so you don't come into contact with that product. Certainly you can do it yourself, but just make sure that you're educated and knowing what you're using and how to use it. So you can certainly buy an over-the-counter product. However, if you have, for example, ants, and you treat all those ants that you're seeing, it will certainly kill them. However, it's not going to get the queen, which is the underlying issue here, and they're just going to keep coming.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
Yeah.
Andreas, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you?
Sure. You can either call us at 321-355-2610 or go to our website, organapestcontrol.com. We also have a Facebook and an Instagram, and you can find us there as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Business impacting the Space Coast, where Brevard gets down to business. Sponsored by Ideal Impact Media, your partner in video marketing and brand storytelling.